Hello everyone, so here comes my COD World War II review. And I'm telling you, I did not like this game. At first, I had high hopes for this game, and then I didn't have high hopes for this game. Once I played it, I was kind of blown away. But then when I played it again, and watched a whole bunch of reviews on it, it just fell apart for me. Alright, there are a lot of reasons to hate this game, from bad historical vision, crappy map design, shit multiplayer, the death of zombies somehow, and SJW bullshit. Alright, we're gonna go through all of it. And so, basically, the campaign tries to go through this Band of Brothers story, and it does a good job at it, but one of the things that made Band of Brothers so good is, while there was, personality, character development and stuff like that, you still had the hardships of war. You did not get a lot of hardship in this game, really, up until the end. Everything seemed to go easy for Daniels and his men, as I know it gives the implication that things get kind of hard, but I mean, it doesn't feel like it, alright? It's not that, it's, like, honestly, it just doesn't feel like it at all. I mean, I watched a Gaming Sins video on it, saying, basically, it said in the description, basically, you know what, don't even play this game, just go out and get a copy of Band of Brothers and watch that, because it's a much better series on, basically, the brothers' concept of war, and stuff like that, alright? And while the campaign does have its moments, it also has a lot of shortcomings with history, and fucking kill barriers, invisible barriers, all that stuff. It's just all freaking annoying, and the campaign is riddled with it. And you compare that to all the other campaigns in Call of Duty's history for the World War II games. You had much more area freedom. You had consequential choices, even in the games where you had the regenerating health and stuff. And I get what they were trying to do with this game. They were trying to basically put it back into the old school boots on the ground type of combat and stuff like that. But they failed at it because the game only has 11 levels, and you only get like two perspectives of the campaign. You fight as an American private, or then corporal, for most of the game, and then you fight as a French resistance chick. That's about it. At least in World at War, you got to play for the Soviets. Call of Duty 3, you got to play for the Soviets, the British, the Americans, the Canadians even. First two Call of Duties, you can fight as different factions too. And then this game was also supposed to come with one of the most, quote-unquote, groundbreaking things for Call of Duty and World War II games in general. It's the fact that it was going to have a concentration camp scene, which set the internet ablaze. For good reason. And I don't mean, like, in a bad way. I mean it, like, in a good way. Because, I mean, no World War II game has really portrayed the Holocaust. Not as much as I know of, like, anyone that's been actually big, that's been in the mainstream. So to put something like that was pretty cool. But it sucked. If you watched the ending Let's Play and you go watch the whole thing, it sucks ass. I mean, you got no dead bodies, you got no signs of really anything. All you get is a couple of clothes, you get a fire, 2 dead bodies chained up to a tree, and then, well, not tree, a pole, basically, and you get just a couple of nooses hung up, and no one hanging, and it's a concentration camp. You think they'd be leaving people there dead? But yeah, you got a couple people dead on the ground too, but I mean, it didn't make me feel bad. I mean, you got no indication that it was anything super duper different from anything like that. You don't even get a bunch of the Jewish stuff in there either, which is the main reason for the Holocaust. Like, honestly, I wish it would have done something like Zussman got captured but they quickly rescued him back. Like, it didn't take forever for Daniels to heal up and stuff like that, and he ended up wanting to stay. They got back Zussman, and then they fight a little further, and then they get to a real concentration camp with Jews. Alright, and you got a couple of pictures too, but not many. I really wish they would have focused on that, but they missed a huge opportunity, and they did the same thing with race relations in the game. Like, because it had an opportunity to do, like, you know, remember the Titans moment where, you know, overcoming racism, becoming brothers, fighting and dying together, going through the blood and guts of it all. They had such a good opportunity to do that with Howard, and Howard is only there for like 3 missions, and that's it. Barely gets any screen time. I mean, he was a good and likable character, but he barely got any screen time. And then he got and then Aiello gave him an apology, and it was a half-assed apology when you look at it from a perspective of storyboards. And then Howard's like, you know, you owe me a hell of a lot more than that. And I'm like, really? Like, why? They just screwed up. Okay, Sledgehammer screwed up. Alright. Alright, so I'm gonna show you a clip from Saving Private Ryan. I'm gonna show you the D-Day scene. And then I wanna play a little bit of the D-Day scenes from Call of Duty World War II to give you a comparison of just how much they screwed up on the entire thing, alright? And that D-Day thing, that clip lasts for 14 minutes, but you got much more of a sign of struggle. Because I mean, people were getting mowed down, and yeah, people were getting mowed down in the campaign of World War II too, but it doesn't take you very long to get up the beach. It doesn't take you long to storm the beach and actually complete your objectives. Alright, I think the video that I did for it didn't last very long, like maybe 20 minutes at most. So anyway, here we go. See how intense that is? Now I know the first scene of Call of World War II is pretty intense. Look at how long it's taking them to get off. Like no abrupt pauses for the character to do something. Like, it's like they're trying to get off. They're not even getting off the conventional way. They're having to jump off. And look over. Half these guys are drowning. Or they're getting shot in the water. Like that. Alright, you see how brutal that is? You see how brutal that is? Look at it. They're actually moving. They're not running really fast and hoping they're not getting shot and waiting for the enemy to reload. No, the enemy is putting constant mirages on them. They're trying to move as best they can, but they can't because they're getting hit by all this artillery. They're going to hide in the water or to hide behind those little posts. Right, you see how hard that is? Alright, see, look at that. Look at all that shit. So many dead people. Look at that dude! That's a striking sense of realism right there. Alright, I know you get decapitated heads and stuff, but you don't get shit like that. Not in a lot of World War II media. Seeing the dudes in Texans spill out, that takes some guts and some really good makeup to do that shit. You could easily do it in a Call of Duty game. Alright? Like, everybody had to fight, even the people who weren't really essential. Alright, this scene has more blood and gore in it than the entire game of... the entire COD World War II game does. Alright, I'm sorry. Even with Nazi zombies, the entire game doesn't have this level of realism. Alright, now I'm going to go put in COD World War II. And you'll see just how crazy the differences are. Right? Just look at that. The campaign begins. Begins with this fact that we already know. And all that stuff. And look at that. It just says radio broadcast. I mean, I made this point when I played the first mission. Well, let's play. Where's Winston Churchill? Why you got some random radio broadcast? What about Churchill, man? Like, why? Like, all of a sudden, you're like, oh no, we don't want to put in Churchill because he sounded like a drunk guy. Sure, he sounds like a drunk guy. He was a powerful speaker. Alright, I mean, a bunch of people may disagree with him on his issues of race and stuff. I mean, for what he was in World War II, he was pretty good. His speaking was good. Oh yeah, he looks like the younger BJ Blazkowicz's little brother. Cinema Sins thing. Well, not Cinema Sins, Gaming Sins thing. But look at that, they use Roosevelt. All of a sudden, oh no, we can use Roosevelt, we can't use Churchill. Oh, that's such a great idea. Why? Who in their right minds could have thought that using FDR instead of FDR, not also using Winston Churchill? Whoever thought that was a good idea is a fucking moron. I swear to God. Alright, look at the characters. I mean, you can kind of get decent character development from the scene. And like, you know, it fits into the Band of Brothers thing, but I mean, good lord. I wish they had more of this. They didn't really do much of it at all. By far the best developed character in the game will be Pearson, because I mean, he starts off being a hard ass, and then you get later on that, you know, he lost a bunch of guys at Kasserine Pass, and you think that he's being more of an antagonist than a protagonist. But then you realize that he went through some more shit than it seemed at Kasserine. And throughout the campaign, just seems like he's getting more and more crazy, and the fact he's just losing more and more of his grip on reality and on the soldiers. And it takes a toll, especially after Turner is lost. Alright, Turner was the guiding force for Pearson, and he ended up getting wrecked. And once Pearson died, and once Pearson gained reins, he was basically he just didn't hold anything back, and it really paid the price for Daniels when Zussman got captured. But once Daniels actually figured it out, he was able to convince Pearson, hey, let me back on so we can save Zussman, and he actually showed him that he had guns.
It's now or never.
And now, let's look at the scene.
I wish I was coming home to her.
Yeah, just wait till we hit Paris.
She's like a long way off. Remember, no digging in at the shore. You've got to advance. You need to stay low and do not bunch up. Stick to your training, you're going to make it through. I'm proud of you.
Alright.
Anytime, anywhere.
Now here we go. We're at D-Day. Now I'm going to do this without getting shot, without dying once on this beach. I'm going to show you just how quick it is to get up the damn beach. And how unlittered of dead bodies the beach looks. How utterly devoid of the goriness of war this level really is. I mean, like I said, you get a head blown off here, but that's it. I mean, seriously, that's really it. And going up to the beach, there's a lot of tension because they're shooting the fuck out of the damn thing. And look at it. Shit's going down just like in Saving Private Ryan. Alright, and look at it. It's just boom. Oh, and they actually got the lip movements right from the beginning too. Seems in the middle of the game they did said, no, fuck the lip movements. That's another graphic mine. Lip movements. Alright, and here we go.
we go? Rock the ramp! There's no cover! That was an order, goddammit! Fuck it!
Yeah, no cover, and all of a sudden, the normal Call of Duty, everything bumps into you at the last second bit. And then you get a headshot, and you got a few guys dying and a little bit of chunks, but that's it. That's literally the most amount of gore you're going to get out of this level. Alright, and you jump into the water. But you don't get that struggle to, not die from drowning. And see, look, you got that bit right there, people getting burned alive. But I mean, you don't got that struggle to keep it where your gear's not trying to drown you, trying to avoid the cover fire. Just trying to get off of that damn thing. You don't really get that. You just get real-time events. That's more of a cutscene than a real-time event, but you can't really tell. That dude's dead.
You can do this! Yes, sir! Oh, Jesus.
Alright. Look, it just... Look at this. I'm barely moving. Barely moving. Not really getting shot. I'm getting shot there. Oh, what the fuck? It happened again, just like in the Let's Plays. Oh, that was prone, you dumbass. Alright, look at it.
Hurry before they reload! Move it!
You look at it. Already halfway at the beach. See, I'm more than more than 3/4 of the way up the beach. All right, look at that. It's right there. Look at that. Look at how fast that took me without dying. You know how fast that took me? It took me less than a minute. All right, and I got this part accurate. The Bangalores. It looks like they designed the beach somewhat like the Saving Private Ryan thing. Get real-time of it. Blows up the hole in the wall. Really glitchy dirt physics. And then this is the widest amount of space you're gonna get, and it's littered with barriers. You got no real way to go through it, except one. And you're just like, why? See, look at it. Go down this path, go down this path.
Thanks, bud.
And you go down another straight path, more straight paths. I mean, where's the exploration? I mean, come on. I mean, I know this is a trench, but still. This is a World War II game. You gotta have this type of stuff in there. You gotta have a lot of that stuff. There's maybe one or two areas that kind of deem off the beaten path, but I mean, that's literally it. I don't feel a lot of tension here because it's not taking so long. Ooh, memento. But yeah, it's not taking as long as you would think. It's literally taking not very long at all to move through there, and I died. Alright, you see just how easy it was to just storm the beach. It barely took a minute. It barely took a minute. I just don't... Oh, and that's a Saving Private Ryan reference, finding the Hitler Youth knife on the beach. They got references to real life and to good events, but they sucked when it came to implementing it. Really bad. Alright, so basically, the game just was a dud. Alright. You had half the exploration and development of the actual games. Alright, this is a game that had a 3-year plan and development, because, you know, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, that's the 3 people who develop the games now. But Infinite Warfare felt more like a return to boots on the ground combat, ironic since it was in space, than this game. Alright, the game, alright, now don't get me wrong, this game has likable characters, but it doesn't learn from the mistakes that Infinite Warfare made and basically tried putting all the new aspects that Call of Duty's had since Sledgehammer's Advanced Warfare, tried sticking it into this, which is not how that works, alright? If you're gonna make a good Call of Duty game, you gotta use the old aspects of the game. You can't just start pushing a bunch of new shit in there. Like movability and stuff like that, and it's just like, it just screwed it up. It screwed the game up hard. I topped that off with the super duper amounts of historical inaccuracies throughout the game, and then the not really actual focus on actual huge events in the game. Like, where's St. Lo? Alright, that was one of the bloodiest battles of World War II in the European front, okay? Where was that? I was super irritated when that mission wasn't included, because that was one of the highlights of Call of Duty 3 in my opinion. Because that was a really intense opener, St. Lo. And there's not one mission that really matches that intensity, that type of fighting through the dirt and the grime and the blood and the guts to get your objective, to kill the enemy. You get the normal Call of Duty thing since Ghost, I think, like the 15-minute missions that have almost no value to the story or any articulate historical accuracy. You just half-assed it. Like, this game could have taken all the criticisms that Call of Duty's had since Black Ops 2. It could have done something so much better. But instead, they made something, quite honestly, really gross. Alright? And I'm going to bring up Halo here because, you know, Halo and Call of Duty's always had this big rivalry. Call of Duty had a big fuck up Halo had a big fuck up like this too, with Halo 5 Guardians. But you know what they were able to do? They've actually been able to try to fix it. Alright? Where's that case? Alright? You know how they were able to fix it? Because of this game. It's not a mainline game, it's not a mainline game, but it's a return to what Halo used to be. A game that put you in the driver's seat to have the best campaign experience possible. Alright, you were able to, you didn't have the Master Chief, you didn't have all that stuff, but it gave you a great story, great gameplay, open wide spaces. I know it's an RTS game, but still, it gave you wide open spaces, it gave you the sense of wonder, just like the original Halo. And it made you feel like you were actually doing something meaningful in the game. In this game, this tries putting in the same formula, but doesn't put as much effort into it, despite how much people think they have. Alright, this game's gotten, I would say, somewhat of a mixed review. I know a lot of people like this game, but there's also a significant backlash to this. It's just like The Last Jedi. Alright, it's got a lot of people who love it, but it's got a significant backlash with a lot of the fan base. Alright, this is exactly what this game's going to go through in the coming months, and what it is going through right now. Just some people just want to ignore it. They want to think, hey, this is a Call of Duty game that's going back to the roots of Call of Duty. And while that may be, they actually are going back into the World War II territory. That's not what they're doing here. Alright, they had really shitty storyline based on the bloodiest conflict in human history. Bad development. Top that off with the whole censoring controversy before the game, kinda ruined it before I ever even got a copy. And the game was just ruined for me. Alright? And when I played the game, I thought I was kind of surprised, but when I played it a second time, I began to realize just how much they failed. How much Sledgehammer failed. Alright? And I think Infinity Ward, they redeemed themselves for all the bad things they did with Ghost when they made Infinite Warfare. Sledgehammer has had 3 years. 3 years to make another Call of Duty game with more experience. With more experience because of, you know, they had time to address the issues with Advanced Warfare. But they didn't do anything with that criticism. Like, they just basically tried to copy and paste the storyline without Kevin Spacey in it. And they also tried ripping off Band of Brothers, and they couldn't even get that right. And so, my review of the game and its score will be a 4.2 out of 10, which is generous. I was prepared to give it a lower score. But considering that the game is at least fun in certain areas, I mean, it wasn't a total loss. But I think you shouldn't even really buy this one until you get a cheap copy. Which is what a lot of people say about Infinite Warfare, but Infinite Warfare seems like more of a game that would be worth it. Alright, like, they took all the good things that Call of Duty has been building up through the bad years, and they ruined it. They ruined zombies, they ruined the multiplayer, and they ruined the campaigns. They've been doing this consistently. Alright, I think Infinite Warfare was the first major shift away from most of the stuff that was going on, because, I mean, yeah, it was still a futuristic game, but half the time in the story you did it without it. And they actually gave you more of a level of freedom. I mean, you got to pilot ships more than half the time, which is very weird for a Call of Duty game. You're able to fly stuff. You're able to even do side missions if you wanted to go to different places. This one you can't do it. And that's the game's downfall. Because it didn't learn from its mistake. Advanced Warfare developers, Sledgehammer, just did not learn from their mistakes. And they made more than half of the Call of Duty community hate it. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review. Hope y'all have a good night. Don't die.